Okay, Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everybody. Welcome back from your vacation. As you can see, today's workshop is going to be about creative writing, and this workshop is going to be presented by Dr. Mohammed Hassin Ahmed. Mohammed Hassin is a writing specialist, instructor at the English Language Institute, and he's been teaching for more than 22 years in the capacity of being an ardent English language specialist by catering to the learning needs of EFL and ESL students at varying levels of different nature of language development through academic English, English for specific purposes, business English, IGCSE, SAT, like international testing systems, and immersion programs in a bilingual backdrop. Dr. Hassin's always Dr. Hassin always presents on challenging topics and creative topics actually. At the Academic Writing Center, he presented on descriptive and narrative essays, editing and revising skills, how to write and develop research questions, how to write a reflection paper, basic components of a research paper, and today you'll enjoy a very valuable workshop about creative writing presented by our creative presenter, Dr. Hassin. Dr. Hassin, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Kamal. Uh, it was so gracious of you to have introduced me in such a glowing term. Probably um, this topic is really dear to my heart because I always aim for bring about some creativity and amount of even at least an out of creativity in whatever you do. And I try to bring about the elements of being really spontaneous, um, original, and creative in whatever task we take up. But now I'm concerned with how to empower young learners through creative writing, and as creative writing involves lots of experiments with genres, and it's a bit in contrast to the other technical sorts of writing, which are so in one sense it's not a usual writing. It's very different, and it's uh, it takes a toll on your imagination. So creative writing is all about developing or embarking on an exciting journey into the unknown world and into the world of uncertainties, into the world of perplexity, into the world of so far hitherto unknown, and sometimes could be quite bizarre because uh, when we talk about the creativity, it should know no bounds. We don't have to rein in our imagination. We have to let it, uh, in fact, take its own flight in the sense that it should have the artistic self-expression of every individual who aims at bringing about some sort of creative piece of art. And that's what art is all about. When we think of science and arts, we often wonder what is this art all about? Why do we need arts in our life? In fact, science may provide us for foods and comforts and all that, but actually we live for art, not for the art's sake, but for giving brightness, charm, and new facet or dynamism to our living. So, creative writing genres might include poetry, fiction, even non-fiction. And I'm going to talk about all sorts of genres, how we can inculcate our learners, our writers, even our practicing teachers, our colleagues, how we can inspire ourselves with the kind of prompts and creative exercises. So, creating compelling characters, obviously, events happen around the characters and vivid setting. So, setting is very important, whether it's scary or whether it's pleasant or whether it's. So, the stories are brought to life and captivate the readers only through the setups, through the characters, through the twists and turns, through the narratives. I mean, we can have our unimaginable or bizarre kinds of narratives, but the whole idea is that we should have irresistible uh, and grabbing the readers or writers, all the target audience by their neck. So exploring the writing styles, every writer has own distinct style, whether it's novelist or dramatist or some of the writers they indulge in stream of consciousness. Some of them they have their own very free verse where we don't go by the mechanistic or technical aspects of the writing. And what is this creative writing is all about? This is about harnessing the immense power of language. Language in totality, or every word has its own power, and I believe so far that no word can be substituted with another. Every word is potent enough on its own, and we can use metaphors, similes, imageries. The right language can evoke emotions and create lasting impressions. So, when we use imageries and uh, similes, we just not we don't simply compare the two things with the help of like or as. In fact, we start assuming as if two altogether different things have become one. Probably like if your writing table or writing pen starts talking to you in metaphorical ways, and you personify the pen to be the mouthpiece of your ideas and all, and then you start conjuring up vivid images, that's what's going to enrich your writing a lot. So it inculcates lots of emotional evocation, and it will have a lasting impression only if it's imbued with, if it's submerged and it's really soaked with the kind of embellished languages, and I call it kind of decorated language or embellished language. And this is what I'll be aiming for, the how to enrich language per se by the right kind of literary devices, we call them. There are many, but basically I'll focus on essentials like imagery and irony and personification, similes and metaphors. And also talk about some of the mechanical aspects like clarity, coherence, and impact. And revising also continuous improvement in the writing skills can be brought about through honing the skills and practicing. And I mean, writing requires lots of practicing. That's what we have witnessed throughout the year that we have been having loads of workshops on every aspect of writing with the kind of constructive feedback and the peer sharing and mentoring and growing. And as a seasoned writer, as an impassioned writer, as a successful writer, as an author, and or even as simply as a student to impress upon our teachers to get good grades. So every individual has writer's block. I mean, everyone has heard of it. This is something inhibiting. It's stifle. It's really it's a like impediment to the expressions of your thoughts on it, because you have got it in your head, but you need to jerk it. I mean, and that won't come from the knee-jerk approach. So usually there are some strategies like we can indulge in free writing exercises or time writing, where we give a fixed time to simply express whatever comes to your head without even gleaning the ideas and free writing. And mind mapping really helps. Why? Because it allows you to broaden your aspects and points that to include it. And it also changes the perspective as you get along by writing at the first draft, the second draft, the final draft. And writing block, there's no medical diagnosis for us, and we cannot even administer any medicine for that. In fact, it's up to the individual how he can unleash his creativity to the best of his abilities by embracing and by encouraging himself to evoke emotion, the right emotions, the right audience, and how to be concise and impactful, and how to be experimental with all the rhymes and rhythms and imagery. And I mean, when it comes to poetry composition, but like short stories, often young writers who have our own story. I mean, in fact, all of us have our own stories, life stories, to build up upon, to draw on experiential learning that we have, and in the limited time and space, we can teach some of the developmental plot progressions, and we can bring about add to the plots, subplots, and we can have effective pacing to craft compelling short stories. But it's a strenuous and stringent task that takes its own time in polishing the way we can. So, obviously, we cannot live without the real world affairs, and we always think of sharing our terms in the real world factuals. But there is another world also that's other than the facts, and those facts can be delineated in the factual writing and in the technical writing, like email and reports and journalistic writing, where we cannot indulge in our own biases and emotions and or being uh, green with envy, and we give colors. And so non-fiction pieces allow you more room. I mean, I would say that more room, because you can fly to the highest possible zenith, and that zenith is achieved only when you don't rein in your imaginative faculty, and you really get to uh, put the imagination the cornerstone of creative writing. And imagination knows no bounds, in fact. And imagination paves the way for bringing about reality in our life. And all of these inventions and discoveries have been made possible only through being imaginative. Someone thought of flying with like birds, and that's why we are flying in the air. Or someone thoughts of how to unravel the mysterious pyramids, and looking at it. That's how we get to know about what lies inside the pyramids. So we need to create and celebrate. So, this creative journey, young writers, empowering them, practical tips, and also to encourage our young writers to feel free to also to not restrict yourself through any of the impediments that might come to the. So, to begin with, we can allow our young writers to go for complete freedom. I'm like, don't restrict. I mean, we don't have to restrict our uh, uh, own, and we don't have to even uh, get to be penalt. I mean, bring out a penalty if the child doesn't come about what it needs to be expressed. So, fullest potential to express every individual to the extent that that would allow all the young budding learners to express them in their. So some of the examples and metaphor I was talking about, and I'm going to give you how these metaphors, similes, with measures, like just to introduce metaphors create a comparison between two things that are not literally related. So I can say that the sun was a flaming globe in the sky. I can say that this uh, if I have to say that, oh, I was a tiger roaring in front of my uh, classmates, and oh, I showed so much of courage. So I was a tiger, I was a Newton, I was like this, a direct comparison. So you assume yourself to have been changed into someone else. So you could be Einstein, you could be male, female, you could be the head of institutions. Similes there is restricted, because we always say that it's like that, and it's not, like, it's something as it is. So our institution is like like our mother. In India we say our institution of education is our mother. Personification is another very strong device that allows any non-living things into living, inanimate things into animate. So you can give life to anyone. Like the death was lurking, it was pouncing, it was marching towards his hands, and grabbed my neck. So when we personify these things, like mother is could be, your mother could be personified as a goddess, as the one who cares for you and all that. So personification, it gives the characteristics. Hyperbole is an extreme exaggeration. Sometimes in imagine writing we need to use hyperbole because we can assume smaller things, petty things to be very big, massive, or some massive things to be very small. Like we remember this Lilliput's in the Wonderland and Alice in the Wonderland and the Magic Lamp and all those onomatopoeia. That gives effects of in a reader's mind of exactly, it brings over the activity of the things. Like if we think of buzzing, immediately we think of bees. If things are buzzing, we always think of the small children frolicking, and so this is another device. Alliteration is also a repetition of initial consonant, and like whenever I think of the sounds and images and all, I'm going to talk about all the sensory organs that we employed in expressing our imagination. So, like alliteration used repetition of initial consonants, like the tree's trunk was thick and gnarled. This uses alliteration with the T sound to create a memorable image. Obviously, it doesn't come easy, but when we start thinking in terms of rhyming, like a song, like a baby rhyming, we always think of how we can have the same kind of words going together. And most powerful of all, imagery. Imagery creates vivid mental pictures by using descriptive language that appeals to the reader's senses. The salty breeze carried the sound of waves crashing the shore. So these essential literary devices, I would call it, for embellishing or making our imaginative writing decorative and more potential. So but it begins with some of the engaging, we can make it more engaging and playful. Why? By how I can teach our young writers to strategize it by the choice and relevance. Allow the students to choose topic they're interested in. I mean, like, we cannot force upon these things. Ask your children or your learners to think of what they really like to express about, what they have experienced this morning, last week, last year, in their vacations. Encourage them to come up with their own genre. I mean, like, don't impose whether they must write or to start with academic writing and journal writing and all those kind of things. Let them tell the story. Let them come up with poetry of 4 lines and a couplet just to begin with. And even, I mean, journaling in the sense that everyday account, what time did they have the breakfast, who they met last night. And obviously, since we are living in the technological era, we can integrate some of the technology tools like, writing apps. We have plenty now. I mean, there are some websites or digital platforms. They create expressions. They also make writing more interactive. In fact, makes them visually appealing and enjoying for young students. Make it a social activity. Like writing should be enjoyed by everyone, not as a task, but uh, I'll say uh, as a celebration, as a kind of building a sound foundation. And I'm going to share some of those brilliant images and the prompts that would really let even the worst writers come up with some of the ideas they can have. So it's it's not just the kind of backdrop. It also tells us that if given the right prompts, we can have the right kind of activities involved, and we can have uh, a strong foundation. Now, what are the strong foundation that we need to? For example, I'm going to give some of the generation's ideas, like look at these unique ways of developing the writing habits. Emphasize the importance of regular writing practice. Like every day, just two lines, a couple of sentences, just a paragraph, because that would overcome, help them overcome the block. Encourage setting aside dedicated time. Every class we can have 5 to 10 minutes and space for writing daily, and generating ideas. Especially, we can sometimes indulge in brainstorming, mind mapping, or also observing the world around us. Encouraging to keep a journal, ideas notebook, and any thought, it's worth noting down that there's nothing right or wrong when it comes to imagined writing or free writing. So whatever there are no guidelines for them. In fact, this is the area where they can really bring about their best of their observations. They can build strong foundations on. Well, later comes the grammar, vocabulary, and sentence structure. Obviously, they won't be marked because of their wrong and faulty expressions and all. They will be, I mean, they have to learn, but they will learn on their own towards the. I mean, when the time happens, and once they're into writing, it goes about like speaking. When we catch the phrase in lexical sets and all that, we tend not to make mistakes, because even without knowing that we are making mistakes, we know that there's something right or something wrong. So it's about, like, let them give them some brief responses, like, write a story about a mysterious door that appears in the middle of the forest. Now, if you open the floor, it's like, they will come up with something. Like, suppose if I ask my audience here, what you know what comes to mind when think of a story where a mysterious door opens in the middle of the forest? Can you think of something quickly so that I can build upon that? Imagine you're a time traveler. Describe your journey to a significant historical event. So, where would you like to visit? What would you like to visit? If you really uh, I want you to come up with because I'm going to share some other prompts. Now, quickly, I want my audience to imagine as a time traveler, as a I'm gonna think of something, and where would you like to go? Which historical events? Don't go by this. I mean, this is about ancient Rome, witnessing grandeur, the Colosseum, road. Supposedly, you are given as a colleague and which what would your journey look like? What would the significant historical event would like to visit? Can you come with something in the chat box? I'm keeping an eye on the chat box. Ibrahim Madani, and I mean, like, yes. Can you give me an input? Actually, I will be sharing multiple documents. So by the time you come up with something, this will help keep the pace going on. So in the chat box, I'm waiting for people to come up with some of the ideas. You're a time traveler and you're going to go to some time in your future or in the past. Where do you like to be? Where do you go, and how is it going to be different? Any idea of how is it going to be different? Guys, any idea how it's going to be different? And why and how you're going to enjoy? Look at uh, this prompt. Anything in the chat box? Mr. Madani, it's a challenge for you as well. If you're there, I want people to come up with their ideas of what kind of, if you had a choice of time traveling, where they would be, where do you find? Because as you see here, There will be plenty of critics about the writing of our learners, young learners. There will be many talkers that they can write for hours and all that. But when it comes to writing, actual writing, it takes a toll on your imagination because the doers are not many. And I think, easy said than done. That's right, Corby. So doers are not many, they are minuscule minority, those who can handle their pen, those who have the gift of the gap, those who can really take efforts in improving about their writing abilities. Even I'm talking about our own colleagues. And so just think of the kind of burden that the young learners they have and how difficult it is. So it's really, we have to be a doer. We don't have to be a talker. We don't have to be critical of what our young writers. So some of the visual prompts I will give you quickly, and I want people to engage in this journey of. Now, what are the imagery? You find it here. Can you think of some of the sensory organs? Yes, easier. Can you think of the sensory organs we're using for imaginative writing? What do you see in this picture? Mehdi Al Hamadi. Uh, my dear, can you tell me all the sensory organs quickly that we employ to? I think it's a prayer time, and I don't see many responses in the chat box. Anyway, it's quite obvious that we use our eyes and nose and mouth and ears and hands and yes, Mehdi. I was simply asking our colleagues to come out with the sensory organs that we employ to go ahead with our imaginative writing. We do them, and others also, like our writers, young writers, also do this. So these are sensory, but there is one more sensory organ that's like intuition, our extra perception, extra sensory perception that we hardly employ, and that's what counts in being yes. Yeah, I know. Yes, yes. This is the time for 5 minutes. 5 10 minutes hiatus, and this is a prayer time. I know. You need all your senses to be creative. Yes, Corby. I mean, if you employ all the senses, even if you fine tune one of the senses, I'll tell you, you'll be a brilliant writer. You'll be a brilliant expressions. Now, look at this. Uh, Imagination. As the story goes, fell asleep, woke up 20 years later, having missed out on some major change in the world. Now imagine that you have been lost and stranded somewhere. Imagine this really happened to someone that just woke up having missed the last 20 years of life. Explain to them that's different about the world and what they missed while they were asleep. I can identify this topic quickly. Why? Because I would say that I spent 20, 25 years in this kingdom in Jeddah, and it's like a wake up call. I mean, I left my own nation and country 20 years earlier, and now I'm waking up to a new reality because my life in my country was altogether different. And I have imbibed, I have assimilated, I have learned, I have experienced altogether different world. So this is what imagination is all about. So we have to recall, we have to get into the habit of. So what are the types of imagery that we use normally for description? Now I'm going to describe why auditory, why visual, why tactile, why olfactory. Auditory, like some of the guys, they learn through music. They have sharp ears. They hear the noise, the silence, and they are very good at, excellent at. And there are some visual learners. We always say that learning preference or learning style. Actually, that's nothing more than using our sensory perceptions to the best of our abilities, and we cannot employ all of them at the same time. We refine, we fine tune. So visual could be colors, patterns, shapes. Olfactory, nice fragrances, and we can always think of good fragrances for good ambience and good uh, atmosphere, and we get to feel self-esteem. What is gustatory? This is about discover what we taste. And sour, could be sweet, bitter, salty, acidic. Now, what these do these things have to do with imaginative writing? You might be wondering, and actually, they are the ingredients that we employ to cook up the finest gourmet or any chef could think of, like preparing the best food, So these are the ingredients that we need to employ, and if we don't do that, our writing doesn't get, it's just a bland, and it's really repetitive, and it doesn't inspire our readers. So I would like our listeners here, draw your head, then fill it with words and pictures showing what's going on in there. Right now, can I come up with some of the words that's going on in your head? Probably you might be thinking of, the sooner this webinar is over, the better, or probably you might be thinking of what is lying ahead. So, can you think of some of the words, like that's coming to your mind right away? Yes, Abdul Karim. Yeah, yeah. You need all your sense to be creative. Yes. And we are hardly able to employ all of them to the best of our, because sometimes we are really, there's a mic on, and I would love to hear something from somebody. Yeah. What's going on in your head? Can you think of, can you tell me something? Plain and simple? Must be thinking of how to go shopping or what? Or how about being, having a nap early, having a good food, good meal early, and go to bed and relax. So this guy's mind is full of, like could be, all sorts of conflicting ideas going on in the head. So this is how, when we think of writing, our brain is full of ideas and thoughts of different kinds. But how to glean the facts? Now, I really want to be, I mean, descriptive of sentences, and that's what makes a writing, readable. So, if we compare these two pictures to our days in the week, like today is what? Today is Wednesday. Now, how do you describe Wednesday compared to other days in the week? Now, with this picture, it stands for what? Which day? It could be the day when you have to attend this session or what? Probably. It could be the day when you are supposed to do a lot of assignments, a lot of tasks ahead, or probably lots of things that you really don't like doing. And the other picture could be the day when you say pleasant, like Friday and weekends and all that. Guys, do you agree with me, or is there another perspective or perception to this? Can we use the symbolical personified ways of saying all of the weekdays and weekends, and like let's say weekends. Weekends are like what? In here we have the weekends as Friday and Saturday. Now, how will you describe your weekends as if they are personified? As they are personified. I want really to come up with one of the instance example where you turn the day into a human. I mean, as they are personified, and they're talking to you, and they're talking in the clearest possible terms that you haven't been doing fair to the day. For example, Friday. Do you become as productive as on the weekdays? So Friday might complain you that you haven't been doing uh, to the fullest of the abilities as you have been doing, but also you have been relaxing, right? So when you relax, you are recharging yourself. So can I call weekends a charging day as we charge our batteries? Do you agree with me? I mean, the weekends are charging days. Like a charger talks to the mobile as is personified, and is asking me to please, give me some energy. I'm dying of. So actually, I'm dying of, responses. I'm dying to hear something from our audience, because if we don't tax our imaginative faculty, we're not coming up with any imaginative creative things, right? So let's see another picture. What comes to mind? Tell the story in quickly in a small way. What is this whale uh, and this human struggle and ordeal in the ocean talking about? How will you make up an imaginative narrative from this picture? Any input? Yeah. Now this picture tells about this is a story of a struggle between how a human can survive against the biggest odd he's faced with. How going to make up a narrative story with all the kind of senses that we can employ to describe it. Now let's see another prompt here. He tied his boat off and started to climb the cliffs. He knew that no one had lived to tell what was behind the cloud, but still be climbed. Can you finish the story in a nutshell? What should be the ending of the story? This story. Any ending that hits your mind? Mr. Kamal, are you there?
Yes, I am. I am there.
Am I audible enough? I mean,
Yes,
I
yes,
can be heard. Yeah?
we can hear you, but
Okay, okay.
most of the
We should have
participants came from the break, and
we should have declared. I mean, a kind of a small break in between, and of course, we declare time. So, in order to make the session more engaging
it
and
seems
more interactive.
most of us, Brother Muhammad, are creative speakers rather than writers.
Yeah, spoken comes easy. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and he fell off, and ultimate
Yeah,
finally, yeah, yeah, yeah,
alhamdulillah. ما شاء الله. Brother Abdullah Noor, Brother Naeem are there, mashallah.
yeah, yeah, Alhamdulillah.
Brother
I
Abdul
mean,
Karim,
by God's
mashallah, and
grace,
Dr. Salim is there.
something has kicked off. Now then he fell off and died. Why are we killing him so soon? Why can't we strengthen the story with a bit prolonged survival struggle? I mean, probably that would be a good idea, right? I mean, the human life is all about struggle against the odds. So probably there is something better. Yes, that's different perspective, and probably there's something is coming out that's unexpected, contrary to the doubts or disbelief or belief. Anyway, it's a good ending. They fell off and died. Yeah, it's a quick ending, and okay, all these kids are icebergs. We only see the tips. So how are you like an iceberg? How much do people really know about you? Now we say that part of our only part of a small part of our life or our personality is visible. We are not what we appear to others. So how can we really know about how does this explain your friends or those who are around, or even those who are in charge of you? Now the idea is, yes, Ms. Name, yeah, you're right. Different perspective, and it's interesting to do. How are you like an iceberg? Much of our personality is hidden. Much of our talent and our sensory perceptions and our way of perspectives are hidden. So in the imagine writing, we have to bring them forth. We have to tease them. We have to have a tryst with them. We can't if you don't give it a jerk, nothing comes out on its own. So supposedly, I need to know somebody. I have to probe him. I have to poke him. I have to question him. I have to put some of the probing scenario where he will diverge himself. He will really. I mean, even a recluse and unfriendly people can open up with certain friends that they really like. So We need to know about the bottom, not the iceberg. Iceberg could be the only the title of the imagined story. Yeah, little the iceberg is visible. Yes. What we don't see is the bigger picture, and that's what imaginative, creative writing is all about. So uh, let's say how we escape the situations from here, and how can we have a terrible escape from terrible situation. You have to go to live in the woods for 3 months by yourself. Make a packing list. Supposedly your family has left for a while, or 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Like, how are you going to tackle all the daily chores and all that with you, and how you're going to deal with this emergent situation. For us colleagues, it's something to ponder over. So what I'm trying to poke you guys with, that there's hundred situations where we have to employ our imaginative faculty to come up with, whether it's speaking, whether it's writing, or whether it's journaling. So in order to, we have our own mechanism, we have our own ways, and but imagination and it has to be there. We have to have a packing list. Now, supposedly you are lost. What should be the best and most important thing to carry? People will quickly say, "Oh, our mobile phone." But what about the signals? You won't get any signals in the such forest and all that. So, what will work for you? If I ask you, come up with single word. What is a single word that will help you come out of this quagmire situations? Can you think of a single word that will really help you without any real support? Welcome back, Ibrahim. Is it going to be your critical thinking? Is it going to be your power observation? Power observation, because you will see the tracks, you'll see you will hear the sounds of the birds, chirping birds. You hear the pause of the wild animals, and that will pave the way for. You will hear the rustling of the trees. You will hear the rustling of the brooks, and you will hear the. I mean, those kinds are going to help you because you will not have. You'll be on your own. So this is a power observation that really counts. Tell the story. What was the story of this picture? Yeah, problem solving skill, of course, we need all the time. And when you think of a situation and how to come out of that situation, we always need to have the problem solving skill. So, can you describe this picture in a couple of words? What's going on in this? Tell the story. The story. Okay, imagine. I want you. I mean, Third World War appears to be imminent now. There is occurred due to the nuclear bomb and all that. Now we have had movies made on such situations. It's a fairy world here. That's true. Now, I want you to imagine a scenario where the nuclear bomb attacks, mankind has been wiped out. Somehow managed to survive a couple of people like Elon Musk and all that. We have the bunkers. And you know that all the billionaires have already made a bunkers and they eventually prepared for escaping the Third World War. What would post-nuclear situation look like? What do you see here? I mean, it's really, gory. It's like, tragic. It's like, obviously, it's barren, it's desolate. So we only have to imagine a world where, we're left with nothing to survive on. So another imagine. So what is imagine writing finally? I mean, like principal difference between fundamental difference between academic and creative writing. Now look at this. I want you to just read through this. Creative writing is different to academic writing. Why? How? Writing a website is different to writing for newspaper columns, right? Journal entries is different to writing press releases, right? What purpose do vary? Is it important when undertaking in writing you have a firm grasp on this concept? Yes. Now look at the fundamental between academic and creative writing. Principal difference will be of what? Style. Creative writing means adhere to any specific style. Actually, there are no specific style for creative writing. You have your own distinct style. parameters, and you will have structured executive adhering to series of guidelines. What are those guidelines? Are broader guidelines. Now, so stringent are these guidelines. Academic institutions, including, are part of the curriculum. So yes, academic are more factual. Yes, you're right. It's going to be the difference between will be the formality, the kind of choices, the words, the kind of we employ our imagination, the imageries and the metaphors. And now look at this. This will give you an idea of what really imaginary writing is all about. And uh, you you can have an idea of how we can uh, share this. Now, suppose which would you prefer? I really want to come up with this prompt here. Look at this. Which would you rather have? A rewind button for your life or a pause button? Yes, different scholars have their own. Actually, every scholarly people or writers, they have this distinct, unique style, and that's how they make a mark in the world of writing. So everyone is there's someone are known for their lucidity, their being very plain and simple. Others are really known for their cumbersomeness, their pithy remarks, and like Dr. Johnson, like some of the Bertrand Russell, and their writing is very difficult to explain and all that. So we have also all kinds of writers with all sorts of genres, and they have experimented with. Yes, and the academic writing obviously you have to go by the framework because it's tested, and it's tested through so many kinds of people in the strictest sense. And so suppose you have a pause button in your life, make a case for a choice, or explain what you do with. If you stop living and you have to rewind and all that, yeah, it's a limit. Yes. So can you make a choice of stop button? Or can we make a choice with the stop button in our life? Yes, we can. I mean, like we can restart thinking, restart living. We can reboot ourselves, and uh, everywhere we're going to use when you wake up to find a strange woman standing over the edge of your bed, she tells you that you must pick one of your five senses to live with for the rest of your life. Which senses will you live with? Guys, can you tell me? You wake up and find strange women standing and over the edge of the bed. She tells you that you must pick one of her five senses to live with the rest of your life. What would you choose? Sight. Any particular reason for that? And how do you justify your reason? What advantages sites have on other organs, and how we can sharpen and hone our penetrative, insightful. Uh, yeah, world is all dark without it. Yes, yes. The world will be black and white. Yes, you're right. I mean, from our eyes, we make pictures, we capture the entire world scenario, then we try to process in the brain, and we then start. So probably auditory and all these will be substituted to this. And yes, of course, sight is most important because observation comes from only a handful of people, those who are great, they have their own sixth senses so developed intuition level that they can see into the things beyond the sight. They can see things in the beyond sight, but we are not so superhuman, and we need to have our own sensory perceptions, usual sensory perceptions. This is the end of the story. Can you write the beginning? Now, what could the beginning of this? Observation comes first. Yeah, you're right. Yes, Abdul Karim, yes, you're right. Observation. Without observation, we're nothing. In fact, we keep observing simply by looking at the things, simply by smelling, simply by taking a look all around. So this is the end of the story. Can you write the beginning? What could have happened to, and that would have led to this? Any idea? Doomsday, yes. Yeah, doomsday, yeah. It could be the end of all the civilizational advancement we have witnessed so far, and this the beginning could have had that we could have, yeah, resurrection, yeah. Probably we had some flora and fauna, I mean, we can see it's a part of some of the trees are survived, some of the hands are survived, some of the boats are survival, and we are towards the end of almost few left, maybe fortunate, unfortunate. We don't know whether we're going to feel, empowered or emaciated or impoverished with the kind of, world scenario, this kind of scenario. So, uh, what is the purpose of creative writing in both? It can be both entertain and share human experience. So basically, we entertain with uh, our creative writing. Can you give me some examples of how we entertain with the creative writing? Examples? How do we use the creative writing for uh, entertaining? Some examples. And how we share human experiences? Some examples. For entertainment, what do we write? For entertaining, what we do write? We write comical plays. We write what? One act plays with comical characters, with buffoons and jokers around. Whatever human experiences. It could be autobiographies, or it could be bios of the people, great people. It could be, I think that's impossible to do otherwise. Yes, right. Like to have, just keep in mind when you're trying to express a feeling or a thought, the first step is to use imagination. I mean, without imagination, we cannot. Now, broadly speaking, and these are some of the types of creative writing that we writing include. Uh, have a look. Poetry. Now, for poetry, what are the essential ingredients? I already talked about. Yes. Screenwriting, great. Yes. Books, poetry. Plays. What kind of plays can we have? It can be tragedy, it can be comedy, it can be uh, one act plays, it can be uh, what? What else can we have a plays? We can have, yes, yeah, also plays, yeah. We can have movie making, television scripts that is turned into movies. We can have, yeah, drama, of course, and it could be melodrama. It can be that's full of exaggerations, hyperbole, and what about fictions? In fictions, we have novellas, yeah, yes, yes, tragic comedy, yes, many possibilities. Fictions will have smaller novels. We can have longer fictions like running with hundreds of pages. We can have short stories. Even songs will have, some of the songs are made to be sung and made to be changed into lyrical ballads. So if you have heard of the lyrical ballads, I'm going into complete literary world, lyrical ballads. So but creativity comes from having an enriched linguistic background. Memoir. Now, can you think of some memoir from famous people? They serve as a manuscript exemplaries for the rest of the people to follow. Yeah, human experience, the biography, autobiography, yes, prose and personal essays. Right, great. So these are some of the. Now I'm trying to coax and really all the time, giving you the prompts of how to open up the Pandora's of your imaginative faculty. Now look at this. Now this seems to be surreal. What is surreal? Surrealism, surrealistic things. Now this also forms parts of imagination, imaginative writing, surrealistic world. Now this appears to be like could be a wave, could be a so surrealism tells really count. Now this is not surrealism. This is mean. I'm just next to background. I want you to think of this as a background of like if we have a serene impact on our psychology and our managed faculty, nature really, induces lots of. So when we talk of imagined writing, or this is how we look at this. Like look, I mean, we may attempt to be imaginative, but it's sometimes just a clever way of escaping the reality. No, that won't work, And unconnected random thoughts, they won't work. We have to pin down our chain of thoughts, chain of commands, chain of it's imagination to speak. Yes, yeah. This is the highest. I mean, I told you, it's a peak of our, the zenith of our imaginative faculty. And what is really imaginative is this part. When a small, minuscule is really managed, interesting, and add to the conference. Only personal attack on. I mean, this is just a replica of what we tend to believe when we talk of image writing. So, can you add your creative writing prompt here? I want you to give me one writing prompt here. One writing prompt, just one writing imaginary prompt, so that I can. And I'm going to show you a video of just 30 seconds. Look at this imaginary world and how it's going to. Uh,
Hold your breath. Make a wish. Count to three. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world. There's nothing to it.
Hurry up, Violet.
This way, Grandpa.
There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything to do it.
I hope part of the video was shown to you. Yeah. There was no sound. Actually, I had closed the sound. I wanted you to imagine that world and come up with the kind of world that is conjured up in the video. What did you see, guys? I know. It's not. Oh, I wanted to suspend the sound and want you to visualize the world that they're showing in the video. What kind of world was that? Was it a real world? Yeah, imagine. What was it really fanciful? So what words can you think of to describe that kind of world? Is it fanciful? Is it charming? Oh, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Oh, we need to have a pair of eyes to really, Oh, you are right, Muhammad Auf. Well, you didn't find any beauty apparently. There is some beauty that's called apparent beauty, appearances, right? Did you find any beauty in that world? Visualization, imaginations endless, yes. So that world was fantastic world. We didn't find anything. Yeah, yeah, the wonderful colors. Yeah, you're great observation, Naeem Amin Saab. Yeah, it was a brilliant world where things were perfect, and it was left to our senses to observe those kind of smell, the kind of ice cream, the kind of flowers, and all those scenario was beyond our comprehension. In fact, that was so nice that we can hardly think of. We love to live in this world for the rest of our life, right? All of us, right? We'd love to live in that world, right? Is our world that colorful, that glorious? That indulging, yes, people indulging in all such. Now it's a utopian world. We call this as utopian world. Our real world is not utopian. It's sometimes utopian, sometimes dystopian, right? So when we think of ourselves, our own world, we have to be sometimes dystopian expressions in us. So, what are the things that we really need to? I'm going to wrap up with the essentials and components of creative writing. Now, look, how do we introduce? I'm wrapping up how we can really train our young writers. We need to introduce in the starting point in story is it capture the reader's attention, character setting. We need to have a conflict. When you talk of conflict, what does it mean? There has to be some sort of disagreement, disgruntlement, disengagement, some sort of animosity, some sort of rivalry, some sort of competition in the real world. So conflict has to be there. Denouement, the denouement is the point in the story when the conflict reaches peak, right? So it's the climax of the story where the tension is at its highest. And then finally, we have to come to the resolution. Now, what is the resolution about? Resolution is the end of all the conflict that we have. Yeah, bewitched, very good, Kareem. Yeah, bewitching world. Like it casts a spell on us. But the real world is not like casting spell of point of illumination. Oh wow, the kind of brilliance that meets excellence. Yeah, I would say it's the point where brilliance meets excellence. So I have met the excellence now in the form of Abu Auf. Yeah. So resolution is the final conflict resolution consequences. Now, what kind of uh, plot we need to? We need a well-structured storyline with twists and turns. We need twists and turns, in the creative writing. We need authentic dialogue, engaging conversation. We need a picture in the reader's mind. That's what I'm trying to create among you. We need some metaphors, similes. We need a voice, give a voice, distinct writing style to reflect your personality. We also need a part of the mechanical structure that's editing and revising. If we cannot do that, our finished product won't be really impressive. So let me go to the guided tour of the journey of struggling creating writer in wrap up. We need self-discovery and passion, right? I hope you're going to agree with me. Step one, developing writing habit. I mean, like without developing good writing habit, we cannot be a good writer. That includes we as teachers and writing practitioners as well, whether it's academic or non-academic. I hope you guys will agree with me. Yeah. Then we have embracing the writing process. Every writing has its own distinct process. The process of writing can have some of the steps, and we can have some of the time sequences and also time frames, and from beginning to the end and progress. We can also conquer the writer's block. How can we? Actually, writing is not something to be done for hours. We need small breaks. We need to have creative outlets. We need to bring the new thoughts to our minds, the free writing exercises. We need to embrace imperfections. Nobody can be perfect overnight. We need to have drafts of draft and pre-draft and second draft and fine drafts. And every best writers, they have had a struggle throughout their life. And in fact, we need to seek fit out the peers, our teachers, our compatriots. We need to have more opportunities of workshops, writing groups, online platform. That's why we are having it here. We need to embrace the growth mindset and persistence. I mean, we cannot continue being the same for long. We need to have a new persistence, new resilience. We need to have rejection setbacks. You know, when we write the research papers, dissertations, we have complete rejections of papers. You know, all our efforts go down the drain. We need to integrate also multimedia elements. I'm going to talk about some of the balancing and moderation act in multi with the help of multimedia. Or we can have multimedia applications. All actually, I haven't. I'm not talking about AI assisted multimedia, but there are plenty. So that's not my part in this workshop. I may use it for later workshops. So, but copyright awareness needs to be done. We need peer collaborations, feedback. We need reflection evaluations. Reflections can be self-sought. Reflection can be also through our peers, through our drafts, through our teachers, and also so if you have any writing block, and these challenges can be made a freeing. Ask your children now, ask them to write, or whatever comes to your mind. Ask them to create a mind mapping. Ask them changing perspective, and don't go by the same perspective all the time. Ask them to take a break in between. And also, it's important to set a deadline. Or without deadline, we cannot achieve anything. Like I've been given an hour to complete this. If I, don't meet the deadline, it's going to be a problem. So, on the other hand, we have procrastination, and everybody is aware of what procrastination is. So, do you think procrastination is always bad, guys? Do you think procrastination is always bad, or sometimes it's what? Sometimes the preparation. Actually, procrastination is not always bad. Sometimes we need to procrastinate because that's a mental preparedness. That's what prepares us for the eventual, and that's what we need to embrace. Because if we don't have relaxation and we don't have kind of reflections and visiting of the, it's going to be a mundane exercise, and we will give up being a writer at all. So, what are the common errors that we can avoid in our editing and revising? Actually, so many colleagues have done so many workshops on these, so I'm not going to delve deeper into these. But just to have a just bird's eye view of what needs to be done is these are editing and revision crucial steps, like they refine writing, enhance clarity, coherence, and so I mean, like these examples. Have a look, quick look. What's wrong with these, and how they are being, corrected, and how they're being corrected. Can you see that? I think you can see it, right? Uh, yes. Can you give me some of the glaring examples of? Now, say he plays basketball goodly. Now, what's wrong with this? We never use goodly, right? There is no adverb like this. We can be a good writer. We can write well. So we need well, yes. I'm feeling very grumpy because I didn't had enough sleep. Now, when we say I didn't had enough, we never use didn't had. We always use had, right? Right, guys? So this is how I'm going to wrap up my uh, take on this. A couple of minutes for observation, for your insight into. It's a vast field, and I've been trying to touch upon some of the aspects of this crucial topic, since this includes all the gamuts of writing. It's not just one. Probably I'll help you refine your way of perspective, refine how to embellish your language and how to become a successful writer in one way or other. Thank you so much. I'm getting late, in fact, and I've been asked to wind up now. I'm going to wrap up with the best wishes of all of you who are wanting to be or trying to have a first step into the world of writing, being an accomplished writer, ultimately, with the help of these small tips that I've shared with you. Thank you so much.
Okay, actually, we have to thank you, Dr. Hassin, for this creative topic from a creative presenter, mashallah, as usual. These are the forms needed for the certificates, ladies and gentlemen. The first one is the evaluation form for those who are interested in getting their certificates. The others are the YouTube channel link for the previous workshops. And if you want to make appointments, registration, you can find all these links. If you have any questions, you can use your mics and you can use the chat box for Dr. Hassin before he leaves. Thank you all for all your interaction, actually. Special thanks should really go to Brother Abdul Kurbi, Dr. Salim, Abdullah Noor, Naeem Amin, Mahdi Al-Hamadi, Abdullah bin Islam, Sayyid Amber Ijaz, Muhammad Abu Auf, Ridwan Levy, for their valuable participation and interaction. Thank you all.